Okay, Dr. Rodriguez. So this is Elizabeth, which is Lieutenant Vance. Elizabeth she's my case study. She has major depressive disorder with a attempted suicide because of a recent relationship breakup with her boyfriend. She's a second-year law student, and I think it's case study or chapter 31, which is the one that you sent me. So that's what we're gonna do this video over. Elizabeth, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's Paul. I'm your OTE. We met a couple times in the last few days. How are you doing today?
I don't know. I feel like I'm just exhausted. I definitely am feeling the both positive and negative effects of the medications I've been taking, and I think I'm just like, as someone that loves being outside, I'm really ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I get it. Tell me some of the side effects that you're feeling with your medications.
I just I'm feeling not really like myself. I feel like sometimes my emotions are a little bit more numb than they used to be. I'm tired. My appetite has been really diminished, but yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, those are pretty normal side effects. It's gonna take a while for you to get used to those. But make sure that when you see like your psychiatrist today and your psychiatric nurse practitioner, just kind of briefly explain those symptoms to them, and maybe they could possibly change up your medication regimen, even give you a new type of med, or maybe even try to figure out a different time of day to take it, so you're feeling a little more normal, less tired, and less affected by your medications.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Just overall mood-wise, how are you feeling today?
I feel like of the last 2 days, I think I'm a little bit more down in the dumps than I have been the last 2 days. Like I said, I think part of it is also just I'm ready to get out of here. Yeah. I want to get back to school. I want to be back with my friends. I want to sleep in my own bed.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand that. Okay. Are you feeling you having any discomfort at all?
Not physical discomfort, no.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so today I'm going to sit down with you. We're going to have about 30 minutes today. And the way this session's going to go is I'm going to administer a brief questionnaire. It's just going to give me an understanding of like your just kind of like how depression is affecting you. This is it's a standardized assessment. It's kind of like a self-questionnaire. So you're going to go through and answer 21 questions. And it's based off a score. So each question will have a score. You just circle that number at the very end. I'll tally up the score, and then we'll categorize it based on that score, and then we'll discuss it, okay?
Is a certain score going to mean I have to stay here longer?
Most likely not. If you are, if you're scoring at an extreme high level where like you actively want, you're actively having suicidal ideation like you did when you came in here, that's going to be something where the medical team will have to kind of go back and figure out your medical regimen. But that's not my decision though. But over the last few days, it looks like you've been doing better. So I'm going to assume and guess that this is not going to be an issue for you today. You're doing really good.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. And then next we're gonna do 3 different activities, kind of focusing on different things, kind of help you try to figure out what you like to do, what motivates you, trying to put that into a plan, getting you back to school successfully, and then making sure that you are successful in your final exams so you can continue law school. And then we'll talk about some stress management and coping, and we'll close out.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. Do we have permission to begin? Yeah. Okay. So what I have in front of you this is called the Beck Depression Inventory, and it's 21 questions like we talked about. It should take maybe 10 minutes, but I want you to take your time. Don't feel rush. It's self-scored, so I want you to try to be as accurate and as truthful as possible about how you're feeling. If some of these questions are uncomfortable or maybe make you feel a certain way, just let me know and we'll try to work around it, okay? Take your time. If you have questions, let me know. And don't worry about what the score says. This is just an idea of where you are for me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain. Okay, so Dr. Rodriguez, I'm gonna have her go through this whole inventory. Just I don't think we've gone over this in class or gone through it in class. So I want to get a rep at going through this, kind of categorizing her score, and then discussing what, in my opinion, what these scores mean, and then try to figure out if the treatment plan that I have before her is appropriate for the score that she gives me. She's kind of been explained at a certain level of what Elizabeth's current status and mood is for her depression. So I'm just interested to see what happens. Perfect.
Do you want to score it?
Sure. Okay. Let's score it. I've been taught not to math in public, so I'm gonna have to pull out a calculator. So tell me how this went. Like, how did you feel going through these questions?
I think that I was worried that I was going to be in like the most extreme score for everything, and so I think it was like a little bit more encouraging than I expected it to be. That like there were some things that I didn't feel like I was like having issues with at all, like some of like the physical pain stuff. So I think it just made me realize like I'm not in as hopeless of a place as I thought I was, because I feel like just being here and like knowing that I have all these problems that I need to overcome now before being able to go back to school, it was really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And this kind of breaks it down a little bit better.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad this kind of helped you see that like you're not hopeless. Like you've made a lot of progress and you still have like a lot of potential left. Good. Let me add these up real quick. Math is not my skill. Okay, so your score came back as a 28, which means it puts you at moderate depression. When you came in here, you were at a 39. So you've gone down 2 whole categories from extreme, from severe to moderate. So you're making great progress. And the next category that you could go down is borderline clinical depression. So for most clinicians, like when you pass this, it's fully diagnosable. Everything underneath that is just situational. Like sometimes people go through seasons where they're stressed out or there's a lot happening and they kind of have depressive symptoms, and that's normal. So I mean, you're making fantastic progress.
Thank you.
So like the hard work that you're putting in is working. So
I feel like also having that, like today is now officially 1 month until my law school finals, having that like thing to look forward to helps a lot too.
It's good. It's kind of giving you like some motivation, some meaning, and some purpose. Good. Great job. Okay, so we'll transition into the some of our activities today. The first one we're going to go over is I just want to have a discussion about some meaningful activity exploration and kind of what you like to do. So I have a journal in front of you. This is going to be we'll use this for later, but and that's for you. But I know in the previous session we were talking about things that you and your ex-boyfriend liked to do together. But I want to talk about some things that you like to do for yourself personally. Like what does Elizabeth like to do on her own?
I really like I said earlier, being outside. So anything I can be doing in nature, like walking, camping. I really have been wanting to, like, in my free time, get into like learning about plants and flowers and stuff. And then I just like reading and going to the gym and working out.
Very nice. Okay. Out of all of these things, you know, what do you how would you rank these by importance?
I think that, like, for me, these things just all have different levels of importance. Like, being out in nature is a really big spiritual thing for me. Like, it just makes me feel so connected with, like, the world. And reading is more of a leisure activity. And then exercise and walking, like, just make me feel good physically.
Yeah. So
I think that they all have, like, a high priority in my life, but just for different reasons.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Sometimes I feel like people, you know, feel like they can be judged by the things that they like to do, and so thank you for telling me all that stuff. Yeah. At your current level of energy, like if you were to go home today, do you feel like you would have enough energy and motivation to do all these things on your own, or have it to where it would be still meaningful to you?
I think right now, just because I'm so like one track mind about like being back and socializing with my friends and like getting comfortable in my home and then also studying, I feel like some of those like leisure activities would fall to the wayside just because of like the overwhelming to-do list that I feel like is constantly building up while I'm here and like away from my environment.
Okay. And that makes sense. I can only imagine being a law student, how much of your free time is actually taken up just by school. And even if like you had a perfect situation, trying to get all these things done outside of that law school schedule is probably pretty difficult.
Yeah, and I think going home to a place where like I haven't cleaned out my house with like all my stuff from my ex-boyfriend, so like going back into that environment, I'm not really sure what that's gonna do to me. Yeah. So I've been having kind of some anxiety about that. Yeah. And my roommate said something about like trying to get some of that stuff out and put away from me. So hopefully I won't have to deal with that when I'm home.
That's good. That's great. That's a great roommate.
Yeah, I have a really great support system at law school. Just going through grad school with people that like understand the struggle and the suck together. Yeah. Like it just creates a really great supportive environment.
That's good. That's good. Outside of the things that you like to do, because I know you're busy, tell me a little bit about how like you take care of yourself in the daytime. Like how do you wake up? Like what do you typically do through the day, just for like self-care tasks?
If I'm being honest, I feel like after the breakup, taking care of myself definitely took a downward turn. Like I wanted to stay in bed as long as possible, which meant I was like rushing out the door, so hair probably wasn't brushed, not looking my best, which then, you know, doesn't make you feel your best. So that was definitely something that, because I feel like before that I had a pretty a morning routine that I enjoyed and I liked, but I just really fell out of that when I didn't want to get out of bed. Yeah. But yeah, so before that, you know, I was waking up, having breakfast, washing my face, brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, and either showering in the morning or at night or after my workout throughout the day. But yeah, about 2 weeks ago, that kind of all stopped when my relationship started to go on the rocks.
Yeah, I get that. Do you feel like with the busyness and the monster that is law school, do you feel like routine is important to you?
Yeah, just like I said, like waking up and like making like taking care of the way that you look makes me feel better when I go to class. It makes
Yeah.
me feel more put together.
Mhm.
It makes me feel more like on my A game.
Yeah.
So like rolling out of bed and being disheveled for my 8 a.m. class definitely doesn't, I feel like, put me in the right mindset to learn what I need to.
Yeah, totally get that. Perfect. Okay, so this is a good segue into our next category or our next activity here. And that we're going to try to create or talk about one, trying to create a schedule for you to get back to school, and then trying to create a daily routine of self-care. And like we're just going to start off with one day. Like what would one day of self-care and routine look like? So before you hear, I know you provided your school schedule to me. So what I have done is I've printed out your school schedule, and it's got your final exam schedule on here as well. The back page I'm going to provide for you, it's just a basic calendar. And so what I would like you to do is take your schedule, and I want you to put this on this calendar as a visual aid to show you where we are on November 19th, and your first exam you says on the 18th. So you've got basically a full month to kind of prep and plan to get back to school to prepare for these finals, and just visualize like in time and space where you need to be in that month to be successful. And then after that, we'll kind of go into a daily wellness routine and try to establish what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, you can go ahead and start. Yeah, looks good. Okay,
That's done.
good. When you look at the schedule, how does it make you feel?
I think that all the white space before my exam start like feels good, and like looking over it, like just having that time, like I feel like once the holidays start, everything I feel like snowballs and moves really quick. But
Yeah.
like looking at it, I'm like, okay, I have time.
Yeah.
Before everything starts, and then the holidays after that. So it's a lot less overwhelming than like when you say like, oh, 1 month till finals.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot worse, but like looking at all these open boxes, it's like, okay, I have time.
Yeah, I agree. And so I say something that's probably important to consider too is, so right now your scheduled discharge to go back home is on the 22nd. Was the very next day is Thanksgiving. So you're gonna have to plan for this kind of day with this time with your family, and there really start hitting the books and making a pretty serious plan of how to study. What I would probably recommend too is contacting an academic advisor and just telling them, hey, this is the goal, this is the plan, this is where I'm sitting in class. Like, can you help me sit down? So that way you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes it can be overwhelming to try to do all that stuff on your own and figure it out because you've kind of been out of school for the past couple weeks. So I think to make it easier for you and to provide that support, an academic advisor is a wise recommendation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want like, I know that my school like knows that I'm taking like kind of a short little leave of absence, but I just don't want like school to somehow find out that this is for like a mental health reason like that, and then start being treated differently and people like being weird around me, and I just want to be treated the same as everyone else when I come back.
Yeah, I get that. That's a perfectly normal thought to have. I get that. I wouldn't want to be treated differently either. Yeah. I think it's probably important to, like, when you do talk to your academic advisor, just be cautious about what you tell them. I think it's good that you understand that and you're self-aware of of some of the possible things that you could run into when you come back. But I think it's even more important to put in the work now to make sure that when you do come back, like, you're ready. You're not already overwhelmed. You have a good plan in place, and you have a good routine, so that way when you are back, like, that routine is really what you're sticking to and what you're like putting your effort in. Kind of keeps you on track.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay, and now let's talk about daily wellness. So I know We talked about like the routine that you had in the morning, but like I also want to kind of help you set up what the rest of your day looks like. And so part of that is trying to schedule like small things. When you're going to eat breakfast, what are you going to try to eat when you have for breakfast? These things that you like to do, like nature walks and working out and reading. Yeah, I want you to, these things that bring you joy, like I want you to purposely schedule that in your life, at least 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it's, I know sometimes, like for me too, sometimes when I'm busy, the first thing that goes out of my life are like the leisure things. And when I do that for a while, I notice how stressful I am and how it affects me in everything else. And I want you to prioritize this for yourself. I think it's going to be really good for you, especially when you step back into school, because you're stepping right back into a stressful environment where things are going to be demanded of you. And if you're not demanding this of yourself, then I just don't want you to get out of that routine yet.
One thing I really like about this daily wellness routine and then comparing it to like my school schedule is like I see like I always have a pretty big hole over lunch. Like I either don't start until 1 or I'm done before noon, besides on my fieldwork days. So like this 30-minute walk outside over lunch like is something that can like kind of break up my day and like separate, studying and class and also like help with, after meals. I feel like it just feels good to like be on your feet. So I think that's definitely something like I want to implement as I move forward to still keep leisure without having to block out 2 hours of my day to do it.
Yeah, I get that. And then also, like, this doesn't just have to be a walk outside or a treadmill. Like, I know you like reading, and if there's a book that you find, like, you can go sit outside and read that book. So you kind of two birds, one stone. You could move this outside of the day. You can move this back into the evening, spend more time. I want you to find something that you like to do and do it every day. Yeah. Even if it's for just 30 minutes.
I feel like reading is just so hard with being in school. I spend all this time looking at words on a page. And so it almost makes reading feel like no longer like a leisure thing. I think I like it on the weekends or like when I know that I have an evening when I don't have to open up my books. But yeah.
Good. Okay. Have you ever considered like an audiobook, or have you ever tried an audiobook?
I like podcasts sometimes when I walk. Okay. I feel like it just, especially when I'm getting like overwhelmed or like anxious or like sad thoughts, I feel like even if I'm not even paying attention to the words in the podcast, like just having that like noise in my ears like quiets my mind.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I would definitely recommend if you're starting to feel like that, give that a try. Couldn't hurt. Perfect. Okay. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some stress management and coping strategies. One that I want to highlight is just deep breathing. It's a very simple, very quick, but also like an effective thing to do when you're starting to feel stressed out. Let me find that. Okay. There it is. Okay, so when you use these are typically for times when you start to feel yourself maybe falling off the routine, or you come across a situation that you didn't really plan for and it's causing you stress or maybe triggering like depression symptoms. And it's important to be able to self-cope and strategize and to prevent further like spiraling, right? And so what I'm going to go over is deep breathing, and it's specifically going to be diaphragmatic breathing. Okay, it's a skill that is easy to learn. It takes 2 minutes at the most, and so we're just going to practice it real quick. Okay. So basically, what I want you to do is just find a comfortable position. Something you can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open, and when you breathe, I want you to imagine like breathing into your stomach. Your chest is going to stay, but your stomach is going to expand and de-expand when you breathe out, okay? So just practice a couple deep breaths, like 2 seconds in and then 4 seconds out. I want you to long breath out. And then once you kind of start to feel yourself come down a little bit, when you breathe in, I want you to hold that breath for a couple seconds and then do a long exhale after that too. Do you kind of feel like your heart rate kind of going down a little bit?
Yeah.
And so deep breathing will trigger like a relaxation response in you, and it reduces your physiologic effects of stress. It's not going to work for everyday things, but I feel like for school and for anxiety and for stress, it works pretty well. I know for me, when I was in OT school, there'd be certain things that would come up that makes me nervous, and my heart rate's racing, and like I'm breathing pretty quickly, and I would practicing this skill where I take this deep breath, hold it, and do a long exhale. It's amazing how quickly the heart rate goes down, and like this rushing feeling goes away. It's quite good. So you can do it for a couple minutes at a time. Do it as long as it takes for you to kind of take that step down to where you're more relaxed again. I think you'd be amazed by how well this strategy can work in your daily life to keep you on your routine.
Awesome, thank you.
And then last thing, so I have this. This is an educational handout for coping and depression. So it kind of goes over the deep breathing, but it also brings other things like mindfulness. Trying to engage with your friends and your support system. And I think it's really good that you have a support system at school, and I think you should really invest in that because I think they want to invest in you. So this is for you. This is if you have any questions about it, just let me know. But I want you to take this back to your room tonight. Just look over it. Okay. And the last thing I want to do is assign you some homework. This is a journal. This is for you. And I'll give you a pen that is approved for the unit. But I want you to practice every day until at least you're gone to just write about your day. Okay. And I want you to write about things that you're thankful for, like it's a gratitude journal. Let's talk about everything in your day, but try to highlight at least one thing that you were thankful for that happened. Because I think it's really good to kind of live and have this perspective of thankfulness for where you are. And like, though it may seem like you're not in a great situation right now, I think you're making a lot of progress, and I think that's really good. And I think that's something to be thankful for. Because like you're putting in the work and you're investing this time in yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've done really well today. This is about all the time that we have. Okay. Do you have any questions about what we went over? No? Okay. Anything that you want to focus on for tomorrow?
Not that I can think of. I think just like trying to implement some of these things into my daily life and what that looks like, and just talking about that.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, well, I will see you later for group, and then I'll see you tomorrow for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay.